Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has strongly condemned what he says was the deliberate attack that has taken place in Canada that has targeted not only the lives of Hindu citizens but also temples in that country. My colleague Simran Babbar is joining us. Narendra Modi has come out and said that India must in fact uphold the rule of law. He's called the attack at the Hindu Sabha temple in Brampton, where even women and children had to face violence. He's made it clear. He says that such acts of violence will never weaken India's resolve, unquote. He firmly added that India expects the Canadian government to ensure justice to uphold the rule of law. Let's pick up this conversation because it has been a hotly contested what is now bordering on a dangerous law and order situation that is affecting Canadians and of course Canadians of Indian origin operating there. Simran, who's going to fix her camera as she's been struggling to do so for the past few minutes, is going to give us perspective on this. Simran, can you tell us what exactly took place in Canada to which the Prime Minister was reacting?
Well, very good morning to all my viewers. In fact, as you have rightly pointed out, that the real regional peel officer of the security
Simran, we'll get back to you. We'll give you an opportunity to fix your camera because you've been struggling to do that for the past few minutes. Let me update our viewers meanwhile on what's going on. After a spate of attacks perpetrated by Khalistanis on Hindu temples that took place in Surrey, in Vancouver and in Brampton, in the presence of Canadian police sergeants, one of the PROs of the Khalistani protests, thousands of Canadian workers had also come out in protesting in what was going on the spot. This took place as a series of incidents. What you're talking about on the left side of your screens have then further resulted in an attack that took place on an Indian establishment, a Hindu establishment, to which the Prime Minister has come out and spoken. It's not often that the Indian Prime Minister speaks on these incidents taking place in various parts of the world. Let me try to rope in Simran back in. Simran, you were telling us what exactly has happened in the in Canada to which the Prime Minister was responding.
Absolutely. As you've also rightly pointed out, in fact, this is a case where the Canadian cop, he was off duty and was caught on the video while also chanting the slogans of the Khalistani and the pro-extremist group. And then it was then decided by the regional police, which then later took the decision and suspended him because he was suspiciously found in engaged in the activities of the pro-Khalistani and the extremist while the attack on the Hindus and Indians in Canada took place. And this in fact was taken at another level after there was a confirmation from the media department of the Canadian police, which confirmed later that this has been done so in the compliance of the Security and the Community Policing Acts. And hence, in fact, more actions could also be expected to be taken likely in just few days after more evidence will come on record. And this is just one of the incidents where an off-duty cop was suspended because he was caught on camera while also supporting and holding the Khalistani flag while there was an attack on Indians going on and in Brampton on Sunday.
All right. So, yes, this is coming in a context, okay, and the context is that Indian-Canadian ties are at a historic low, probably the worst ever in a generation, if not in a lifetime. So, let me put into some perspective what has happened. In Toronto, a major Canadian city, there's something called the Hindu Sabha temple. A pro-Khalistan protest was taking place outside that temple that escalated into violence. The Indian Prime Minister spoke about it a few hours later. He says this will not weaken India's resolve and called the attack cowardly, also expecting the Canadian security establishment to respond and deeply concerned about the safety and security of Indian nationals in Canada, as he well should be, because the Canadian state and its intelligence and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police don't seem to think that an attack on a certain segment of Canadians matters, but anything untoward that would happen to a different segment of Canadians, of course, for which heaven and earth needs to be moved. And now this is for Canadians to figure out. Policing in their own country is the RCMP's problem. It's not our problem. but it's certainly deeply concerning on the kinds of altercations and face-offs in which it seems that the police are taking a one-sided point of view. Now, you're watching on the left side of your screens videos of what was taking place in that place. Have a look at this. Okay, this is happening on the streets of Canada. Can I point out this is not happening on the streets of India? It's happening on the streets of Canada. Canadian police are standing there watching it happen. You make your own judgment call of where the law and order problem is, where the crisis is taking place. The crisis is not happening on the streets of India. The crisis is happening in the streets of Canada. Why it's happening is for all to reasonably judge. But of course, it is the Canadian state's responsibility to look after the health and security of its own citizens or those in the country. It's not something we can do so much about. And it seems rather odd and awkward that nothing is happening on that front.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.